Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and by the time you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you just missed out on the early housing preview that a handful of players got to participate in during the PTR update. Patch 11.2.7 is when housing is coming out super early for any players that have pre-ordered midnight of any edition, and they actually wanted to do a housing test where players got to preview what the housing system is like, but also do a bit of crash testing. Initially, the plan to do this on a very specific date, however, they did have to delay it and then just let it spring up out of nowhere, so everybody rushed in to test their homes, and so did I. The servers were an absolute mess. Absolutely everything on fire, so many disconnects. However, we were able to get a house, we were able to make a home in the neighborhood, decorate it, and explore the actual neighborhood itself, and try all of the different features within the housing. And I wanted to give you guys my first-hand account of what that was like, from being able to get your home, to purchasing the home, the decorative aspects, what is available for customization, as well as how will you be able to collect a bunch of different decorations, and you'll have a lot of options, it looks like early on, to buy them for very cheap. So with that, that's going to be our preview of housing system over on the PTR realms. As always, if you guys want to keep up with anything new regarding housing, patch 11.2.7 or midnight alpha updates, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. Now, I would log on PTR Realms and give you a proper house tour of this, my nice little humble abode, which I'm really proud of and really love the look of it. That being said, part of this test, however, was a stability test. It's done on purpose to partially give players an opportunity to test housing, but also to funnel a bunch of players in to see if things crash. And things definitely crashed a bunch, with the servers essentially being on fire and pretty unplayable. That being said, I did get a bunch of footage with a lot of DCs in between and crashes in between, but I did want to go over exactly what my experience was like. When you first log in for the patch 11.2.7, immediately we got a quest that leads you into your neighborhood scene area, like the actual location where all the neighborhoods and the housing are, and it kind of like guides you into that housing, but it doesn't really hold your hand too much. You'll also notice that in the portal room, both Stormwind and Augermar, the portals on very different locations. They moved a bunch of portals around, and I think putting Silvermoon and Zuldazar portals way down below to the second level, to the basement level, is pretty diabolical. But the main big portal, the nice one, the welcoming one, is the one that takes you to the housing island. Once you get there, essentially you get to pick a plot of land and purchase it, and there you could place your home, which I did as quickly as possible just because those plot lands were going out very quickly. The prices, I'm pretty sure, are not set in stone, at least at the moment, because it is a test realm at the time, so we don't really know exactly how much they'll cost at the end of the run, but we did end up getting into a public neighborhood, though players could go into a private. Ideally, you would do that with a guild or a community, but I wasn't able to do or test that out specifically. Once you actually go to the zone itself, there's actually a lot to explore, and all of it felt overwhelming, but I kind of just wanted to get my house as soon as I could because all the plots were going out very quickly. And once you buy your house, I was surprised actually by how much you could really do when it comes to customization, because you're not only just owning a house, but you actually own that whole plot, and the amount of customization you could do there specifically is actually quite a lot. Immediately, the first thing I did when it comes to my house is customize the interior, and I got to try it to create a couple of different rooms and modify what the inside of my house is going to look like, and it was actually pretty awesome looking. At first, it is going to be limited when you first start out with a house, but over time you'll be able to grow your home and customize even more rooms and really expand to have that interior look like an absolute maze if that's what you're looking to do. I ended up with a second story type of a house setup with upstairs, and in that second story area I have a storage as well as a bedroom. Setting up the rooms themselves was a little bit awkward though, because somehow I ended up kind of like stretching out a hallway, and it ended up adding like a second floor to the house somehow, some way that I didn't intend to at all. So it was a little bit buggy and a little bit unusual. And also, I was able to get out of bounds once with all the crashes that was happening more regularly for some players than others. But once I got settled, I was able to customize the walls of my home. And you can customize the type of wall you want, and there's a bunch of different options, different types of foundations, the flooring, the base, the insides of your home, like the guts of your house. It was actually really cool, but I did that a little bit late when I was finally starting to get my house set up. But definitely the first thing you should do is customize the inner holdings of your house, so you can really go for a bunch of different options. Placing the items onto the house, however, was surprisingly a lot of fun. Like, you could move them, snap them, or potentially have them phase and clip into other objects freely. Rotate them and adjust them in just about any way you want to. You can also decorate items, however, you'll need a paint type of currency in order to be able to do so, which I couldn't figure out how to do, so I couldn't really do that. So you couldn't really customize all the furniture, but you'll be able to do a lot of customization when it comes to like the type of materials like a bed frame would have, the coloration of like the bed sheets and such, and things like that. There'll be plenty of opportunity for things to look a little bit more uniform in whatever type of home or type of a color scheme you're looking to have for your house. And I was actually really impressed with the lighting engine in particular. Like, being able to put a bunch of like a room and full of doodads inside with boxes and things, it was fine on its own. But when you add the lighting to it, that's where you can really have a house feel more like a home. And I feel like that's going to be an art form all in itself. And I actually surprisingly got really into the whole decorating part of the owning a house thing. As somebody who plays WoW, for the most part, I focus on difficult PvE or PvP content, things that challenge me, but also things that will provide me a bunch of cool rewards. I'm not necessarily into like collectibles like mounts and transmog, unless there is some sort of like a difficulty behind them, like a challenge mode of sorts. That is what I'm really into. So housing, I really did not think I was going to be into, because there's not a lot of difficulty regarding the housing. I guess there's going to be some difficult achievements and difficult feats you'll be able to do in order to unlock some of these cool items, but I was actually really enjoying my few hours customizing my house, the inside and the outside, and I actually found it really therapeutic. I think housing may actually potentially break the streak for me and might allow me to enjoy the more simple, casual side of WoW for a short bit of time. I talked about customizing the inside of your home, but you could also customize the outside as well. I originally started out with an orcish hut, but I didn't really see anybody else using any other type of like home, so I don't really know if you'll be able to have like a human home in an orcish neighborhood. From the previews, it sounded like you'll be able to do plenty. Just any type of home in any neighborhood. You'll have basically the world should be your oyster, but I think for this test we couldn't really do much here. You will be able to customize the materials, however, of your house, like change the roof, change some color schemes, the color aspects of your home. I decided to place as many chimneys as I could around my house just to see how many I could have it. I could have like up to 6 of them if I wanted to. Definitely an interesting choice, if anything. You could place trees, which you'll be able to get as decoration that goes for the outside specifically. Grass, bushes, fences, chairs, whatever you like. And like I said, there's also a bunch of items that are specifically marked as like outside furniture and inside furniture. So some of them you'll be able to use everywhere. Some you'll be able to use specifically on the outside. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to be able to create a garden, since you do own a plot of land, not just a home. So there's a lot of potential to really customize what the outside looks of your house, but also the inside as well. Outside of this, I spend a little bit of time exploring the neighborhood itself, like the actual island where you start on. And I found out that the zone for this place is actually quite huge. There's a load of cool spots where you can own a house. And I was initially not really excited about the Horde neighborhood. I was really excited about the Alliance neighborhood because it has locations that remind me of things like Duskwood or Goldshire, or possibly even the Stormsong Valley from BFA. Like, it absolutely looked gorgeous. But the Orcish zone actually was really good as well. The beachfront property, there's a lot of cool spots where you can have a home. The tree heavy locations but look at like constant fall all the time actually was really enjoyable to look at, which is where essentially I placed my house. So I actually enjoyed the Horde location, the Horde neighborhood, far more than I thought I would. So both the Alliance neighborhood and Horde neighborhoods, once you start exploring them, actually have a lot to offer, since you really get to choose where you want to live. It's really just a personal choice at the end of the day. And also, while exploring, I found vendors. So if you're looking to add even more items for you to furnish your home, initially I started out with a set amount of items, but I was really missing bookshelves and other things. But once I went exploring, I found a bunch of vendors in the center of town specifically that sold a bunch of inexpensive items that sold maybe for like 50 gold, 100, 150, and maybe those are just placeholder numbers as well. But they really weren't that difficult to grab a bunch of boxes and chests in order to fill out the variety of different rooms in your home. And then I found a smugglers, which were Alliance smugglers, that allowed you to buy Alliance specific furniture for a Horde neighborhood. And apparently in the Alliance neighborhood, there's Horde smugglers as well that allow you to buy the other opposite factions decoration I don't know if they'll have rotating vendors or they'll add more vendors later down the line. But yeah, there was an opportunity for you to be able to customize your house in like a very Silver Moon aesthetic, or potentially very Night Elfish aesthetic, human and orcish, and plenty of that opportunity. So it looks like you'll be able to get a variety of different vendors from the get-go, and all the items are fairly easy to obtain. But also you'll get a much more vendors later down the line as you really get into the whole neighborhoods process with endeavors, where certain NPCs will be visiting those neighborhoods and you'll do tasks for them in order to get their unique, like iconic decor, like mecha gnome decorations. I imagine like maybe high mountain torrent decorations and a bunch of other items that you'll be able to unlock over time. Over that's going to be my entire experience during this short bit of time that we get to test housing over on the PTR realms. As always, I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching and hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this update or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like, and I would very much appreciate it. Be sure to join our Discord community because we'll be posting a bunch of stuff over there over for the Midnight Alpha and any of the newest updates as soon as they appear over on the development realms. Let me know your thoughts, what you think about housing and everything we've seen so far in the comments down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.